As the sense of loss and grief was brought by World War I, people were longing for peace greatly. The signing of the Treaty of Versailles brought the end of the war. However, the peace lasted shortly as the Germans were outraged by the treaty, and the so-called peacemaking took one step towards its failure. After the signing of truce on November 11, 1918, the wars were put to an end. In January 1919, Paris Peace Conference started, with the aim of negotiating for peace. Even though 32 nations were represented, the Council of 10 consisted of leaders and heads of the United States, Britain, France, Italy, and Japan, tried to monopolize the decision-making at the very beginning. Later in March, it was reduced to be a Council of 4, made up of British Prime Minister David Lloyd George, French President Georges Clemenceau, US President Woodrow Wilson, and Italian Premier Vittorio Orlando. During the conference, the Treaty of Versailles was signed on the date of June 28th, which marked the official end to World War I. It was written by allies with almost no participation of Germans. In the treaty, Germany was blamed for starting the war, called as the War Guilt. While the negotiations were happening, the split between France, Britain, and US was revealed. To the French, they wanted to dismember Germany, which made the renewal of war impossible. To the British and Americans, they wanted to avoid the creation of pretexts for a new war. A series of decisions were made towards Germany, the country which was thought to be guilty. As devastation, casualties, and debts were largely created in Britain, France, and Italy, Germany was made to pay for the war, including all the Allies' costs in the fighting. German colonies were also divided up by the Allies. Britain and France administrated most of the Middle East, and the colonies in Africa and Asia came under the rule of Britain or Japan.
The British, the French, they wanted to punish Germany. They wanted to get reparations from Germany for all the losses, deaths, economic disasters suffered in World War I. They were not interested in political self-determination for their colonies. They wanted to absorb Germany's colonies into their own empires.
The Covenant of the New League of Nations, the intergovernmental organization aimed at maintaining world peace, was created in the treaty. However, the blamed Germany was not able to join until 1926. As Germany was thought to be a threat to other countries, the treaty imposed parts reducing its military power. Germany was forced to have army reduced in size, recruitment forbidden, and possessions of certain classes of weapons prohibited. After the treaty was listed, German public was angered, thought it was an insult. Its government signed the treaty under protest, and the German delegates who signed it were thought to be the criminals of 1919. The assassination of several politicians was later done by German terrorists. After the war in Germany, the soldiers failed to re-enter the society. Nationalist movements grew, and little by little, people became fury, contributing to the rise of Hitler and leading to another nightmare, the World War II.